Okay, just to Chris's defense, since he was asked that question several times, I went back to try to find it, and he sat down with Lindsey Zarniak, and his full quote was, "I was excited to get a chance to play for a franchise like that with the players they have. It's crazy how life comes full circle." And he said it with more enthusiasm.
It's an odd time for him to be on a book tour. If people don't know, he's on a book tour right when he got traded the first time and the second time. So he's doing a lot of kind of pre-scheduled interview stuff.
But that didn't seem like the most enthusiastic response, so I wanted to clear
it. I don't think it's a basketball fit for the Warriors. We talked about that yesterday, and I thought Nick brought up a great point that now a lot of people have talked about is financially it was get off the Jordan Poole deal. We got a 1-year deal for Chris Paul, so that's fine. But the only basketball advantage I think this gives them is if, they were bad when Steph was out of the game this year. Horrible, actually. So now if Chris Paul's running the second unit, you would think that they'll be pretty good. They'll be able to maintain leads and things like that when Chris is running the second unit. I don't like it. It doesn't make sense to me for Golden State. He plays slow. They want to play fast. But I don't even like it for Chris because I think he's still, even at 38, is a starting caliber point guard on a really good team.
Yeah.
And so now I think he's going to be coming off the bench if they keep him.
So you keep saying so.
How's he going to start?
Let's talk about both these things. Mm-hmm. How good is Chris Paul? Well, let's not historically, but right now, in 2021.
But Nick, you can't go.
No, I'm going to go each year. I'm just going to show the trajectory, and we can see where we think he landed. 2021, he was 5th in MVP voting. Some smart people thought he was league MVP. He even got a couple first-place votes. He got a couple first-place votes, sir, and I'm not even a voter. I'm not a voter.
A couple is 2.
They made the finals. 2022, he got MVP votes. Again, no first place. He was All-NBA. That's the year before this one. Last year, he was the second-best player on a decent team and then became the third-best player on a team that was the Vegas favorite briefly to win the championship. Yep. That's his last 3 years. And now we are saying
top 5 in assists.
Yeah. That's the other thing. And the year before last, he led the league in assists. Now we're saying he's coming off the bench. So I know Wilds, you're usually, have Josh grinding the all 10 and doing a lot of work.
22.
I had Josh,
look at the bench players
all
too,
20, the whole thing. I had Josh, he spent like 45 minutes building this for us, but it's Chris Paul's career. Starts and off the bench.
Oh, good. That was good, Josh.
So
you watched all
0.
those games.
Well, I watched them all. It was on 100x speed. I even went back and checked college. Wake Forest, one game he came off the bench. I think it's because he had punched someone in the groin. I don't know. I didn't check. I'm just guessing.
No, he was suspended for a half, wasn't he?
Yeah, exactly, for the Julius Hodge thing. And in high school, I'm going to guess it's 0.
How's he starting?
But how's he not?
What's the starting lineup?
So this is why it's weird. I agree with you, Brew, that the fit, it's like, wait, huh? But if he's not starting, do you think he's finishing?
No. I mean, sometimes.
So
sometimes.
That's weird.
Depends on the game.
I got one other thing for you, and I know you love trivia. He's the 40th highest paid guy in the league, okay? One guy who makes more than him doesn't start. You know who it is? It's Ben Simmons. So guys that make...
But, Nick, give me the lineup.
I agree with you, but that's why
and not only the lineup, the style of play. He's a pick and roll guy. They've run the least amount of pick and rolls in the league with Steve Kerr as the head coach.
Yes, I know it sounds like we're disagreeing. We actually agree on all of this. What I'm saying is that's why it's weird, right?
Okay. Yeah.
That's why it is. I do think in a vacuum, it's like, okay, Jordan Poole, who I was a very strong critic of, felt was not playable in the playoffs. You're replacing him with one of the best true point guards ever, even, at an old age, still knows how to run a team. In that regard, for this season, it clearly makes you better. Mm-hmm. But then in the regard of how are the personalities going to fit, is Chris Paul going to be okay with being a bench player and not a finishing player for the first time in his basketball life?
Right. But why did you got to understand he's 38?
Why did Jordan Poole get moved? The same team won the finals. Jordan Poole got punched in the face. The vibes were off. Trust was off. The chemistry was off. So Jordan Poole had to go. Here's the clip. We didn't mention this yesterday, and it bothered me, so I brought it back today. This is the exchange from March. Steph Curry hits this layup on Chris Paul. And remember, he was walking back, and he said, it's not 2014 anymore. And then Chris Paul was asked about it. Take a listen. So, Brew, they've been rivals for a long time, And even though Chris Paul has put it on the back burner, it is still on the front burner for Steph to the point that he mentions it in the game. So do you expect now the team that had issues with their chemistry and vibe and trust all of a sudden to be like, hey, your arch enemy, I know, figuratively, is now going to be on the bench and backing you up? Do you think they are both able to thrive in that environment?
The only way it would be a problem is if Chris really, I'm coming off the bench. I'm not accepting this. Outside of that, which I don't think Chris would do, I think he'd be professional. I don't see it being a problem. We've met a world peace, and Kobe went nose to nose, almost got in a fight. Kobe, they get him on the Lakers,
but that's different in that
great.
they were
Matt
never.
Barnes,
but they're not the guy.
Right. Those guys
Steph,
were
there's
never.
no competition. As great as Chris Paul is, he ain't Steph.
No,
he's
but,
in a whole lesser category than Steph Curry.
Agreed.
That's the problem.
Agree. Hold on. But he is in.
If I'm Steph, I'm not.
No. But he is
no
in the
issue with
category of one of the greatest players of all time, which
But
meta
he's
world
beneath
peace,
Steph
and
by
that's
far.
fine. But you understand the difference. You get what Wildes is saying. That it is.
It was an issue with Durant. When Durant showed up, there was vibe problems. When you have great players there.
With the Warriors?
Yes, well, he left the team.
Well, that was the second, third year when Draymond went at him.
I know. Well,
But that was 3 years in. Initially, it was fine.
I'm saying that team thrives when everyone is coalesced perfectly. And when there's friction, they can't get through it.
So
look, they don't need Chris Paul. That's the fact.
So that's the other
maybe
thing
I
that
don't know
wanted.
what the rules are regarding the trade, but
Go ahead. No, go.
That's the other. I'm going to take in a different direction. But before that, Wildes also had a really smart point, I thought, on Twitter that I didn't know if you wanted on television, but it's on Twitter, so it's the public. It's in the public
I do now.
sphere.
I do. I didn't
Post
see
your
this one.
favorite Welcome to the Warriors CP3 social media message from a current Warriors player or Warriors legend below. Cue spare piano spooky music.
Yeah, it's like Unsolved Mysteries. Like, doom, doom.
Oh, okay, got it.
You're a rabble rouser.
And
Wow.
so, look at that brew. If
next
you would go
episode,
to it, he would get to 20,000 views. It'd be a peak. And so he's 19.9. Look at it now.
Doesn't it seem odd there hasn't been a... Wow. Oh. We got Chris Paul.
I'll say this. The Warriors have been one of the most intelligent teams in basketball history. Let's just keep it real. They know. We don't know more about basketball than they do. They know. How's this fit?
Well, right. And the other thing is, even if I thought Jordan Poole needed to be moved, it did feel like the Warriors, one of their big issues, I agree with you that when Steph went to the bench, the team didn't work, but was size. And it's like,
right.
John Collins has been on the trade market for 5 years. Miles Turner's been on the trade market for 2 years. Wouldn't those, if you're going to use the asset of moving on from Jordan Poole,
I agree.
Wouldn't those have made a little more sense? So I don't know. It is, and I do think they got better in the moment, but it is a very odd fit because, to your point on the tweet, there seemed to be more excitement when they signed Boogie Cousins a few years ago.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, oh, they got, and so it's a weird thing to me.
The whole thing is odd.
It is.
Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get more from the show and to check out clips from other shows on FS1.